What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Frayed Brush. I'm Big Aaron. This is our first, I guess, kind of legit live stream on YouTube. We're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Just from setting up and getting everything going, I've noticed there's between a 20 to 25 second delay. So if you type something and it doesn't show up right away, or I don't answer right away, just give it a few seconds for everything to sync up, and then we'll get you squared away. Last time we worked on this was Tuesday, and we did it on the Twitch stream. I transferred that video over to YouTube, so if you're coming in kind of late in the game, you can watch that video again. Hello, wife. You can watch that video, get caught up, and pick it up from there. The only thing I've done since Tuesday is I went back in and kind of finished up all the base coating. I don't think I left anything out. At least got initial coats put on stuff. I know it's hard to tell in the video, but I have to touch up the tooth in the middle here again. I'm not sure about that the orange brown we used on there. I might darken that up a little bit. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and dry brush a little bit on the base. Pull out some of that detail. I don't know what we should use. Let's see, what should we use? Let's try heavy gold brown. Yo, Dennis, what's up? Thank you for stopping by. I get the feeling it's going to be pretty bright on camera, but we'll see how it works. I have a mess of a table here. As you can tell, I'm really good at cleaning out my brushes. I don't know when the last time I used this was, but it's got paint on it. Still soft, so we're good. We're going to touch that into the wet palette just a little bit to get a little bit of moisture on it. Now, in case you don't know, this figure is Sharkimedes from the Secret Forge Kickstarter that went live on Tuesday. That's why we did the stream on Tuesday. Help Secret Forge celebrate the kickoff of their second Kickstarter. Their first one was Moxie. A very successful Kickstarter. We painted for that one as well. It actually looks like some of that green might have reactivated. It's giving kind of a cool highlight to this. It's not just the straight brown. Give it a nice little tint to it. Ooh, maybe it doesn't work, wife. Thought it would. Now, we're being kind of heavy-handed with this. Because we want it to be kind of a highlight, but kind of cover, because then we'll pick an even lighter color to go back in and just hit the very tip top of everything. We're being kind of heavy-handed with this. Yeah. I can pull the links real quick, and I can throw them up there. It's fine. I think it's just going to be the one, really. Let me. One second. Here we go. I got it. So here is the link to the Secret Forge Kickstarter. Be sure and go check that out. It's this model, the Shark, plus 2 others. I don't know why that's going through. Let's see if we can stop that. There we go. Okay. It's going to be going till October 11th. That's when it will end. So be sure you get in there and you check it out and go ahead and back it before it ends. We'll take a little bit of this green ochre and we'll go ahead and kind of hit that. Nah, we want to go lighter than that. What do we have? Heavy khaki. Give that a try. See what it looks like. Nope. Man, that is a tough color to match up. There we go. We'll use some sun bleached bone from Green Stuff World. That'll work. It's brighter. Well, that looks pretty good. Going over that mix of color we just had. I got a little heavy-handed right there. It's all right. We can touch that up when we go to black out the rim. So now we're going to go ahead and dig into a couple of washes here. Start getting some color on the old Sharkimedes here. Go ahead and use one of the big old fat brushes so we can cover a lot of space in a little bit of time. Makes it kind of easier to keep it moving, so we don't get any coffee staining. Just dipping into my super secret mix there, and it's so super secret. I will tell you that it is 10% airbrush thinner, 10% airbrush medium, and 80% water. So it thins it down. Well, it thins everything down, but it thins it down enough so we don't get any of the coffee staining from the wash. And really, with washes, the only thing you really want to look out for is any puddling, which doesn't look like we're gonna have too much. If any, a little bit right there. Now this is kind of being on YouTube right now. It's kind of a test stream of sorts, to see if I want to make the jump from Twitch to YouTube. The way it stands right now, I do my live streams on Twitch and bubbles. And bubbles. Oh, you talking about in the wash? Yeah, it cuts down on the bubbles too, yeah. The way it stands right now, I do my live streaming on Twitch and then transfer the video to YouTube before Twitch deletes it after a certain amount of days. And then I'm also doing videos on YouTube that are just for YouTube. So thinking about possibly giving it a try, moving everything to one platform. So we'll see how it goes. This is just a test run right now. So if you normally catch me on Twitch streaming, this does not guarantee a full move to YouTube. Just trying something a little different. So hope everybody had a good week. My week got better when I got off work for the weekend today, as I'm sure most people have. Except people like Dennis, who are probably at work right now. Now the goal is to maybe go ahead and get this. Oh, you're off today? What? Oh man, that delay. I gotta get used to that delay. Man, that means I'm going to keep track of conversations in my head. That's dangerous. You can ask my wife about that. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? We're going to try to, I don't know if we'll exactly get this finished because we do have to do the work on the metallics. So we'll see how it goes. This what was this? This Agrax Earthshade is going to be kind of a all around on this thing because there are a lot of muted colors on here. This is a very, I guess, dark figure. We're going to get all this laid down, let it dry. You can already tell how much detail's in there. There's a lot of detail in this model. The only place I really want to try to be careful about this wash is really up next to the skin, because with the skin being gray, it would cast a more gray shadow rather than brown or black, or your Agrax Earth Shades or your known oils. Some people would tell you that using oil or not oils, using shades and washes and things is cheating. Nah. We change up our methods and our tools and painting to make it easier. So if you have a way to make it easier, then by all means use it. Still haven't decided what metallic I want to use yet. I definitely don't want it to be bright and shiny. but I don't want it to be so dark you can't tell it's metallic either. So yeah, that actually had quite a bit of detail pulled out. These little ropes. Now everything we put the little wash on, we're gonna go back in and highlight some stuff. Give it a little bit more detail, make it look not so flat. Grab some more. Oh, it's kind of nice that wash actually knocked down quite a bit of the glare as well. So nice. It's a little bit easier to see now instead of just getting blinded. A little bit more of our mixed stuff in here. Hit the pouches. You know, these washes, you just kind of put them on and let them do their thing. Like I said, just be careful not to let it pull up too bad in areas. The biggest areas you're going to watch are, large flat areas. They can tend to pull up very quickly there, and also really deep recess areas. But I mean, if it does pull up on you a little bit, then so be it. You can go back and touch it up wherever you need to. It's not the end of the world. Here at the Frayed Brush, we take a fairly laid back approach to painting. I still have to get how the music and such works out on YouTube. I had it all figured out for Twitch, but not quite sure the same things apply. So I'll have to do a little bit more digging. I'm putting this on all the pieces, whether it's a flat area or not, because it does change the color slightly. That way everything does have the same color. And of course, the more we get squared away, the more we have to pay attention to how we hold it. Doesn't look like I got that. Another thing about these too, if you got an area that's kind of a little bit lighter than you want, you can always go back in and Put another layer of wash. These straps will go back in and highlight with a brighter brown. And we're not going to sit here and wash like, the entire body. We'll go back in with I think I've got a gray wash from Vallejo we can use. So we'll go back in and kind of outline everything to just get kind of like that little shadow edge to it. But we're not just going to slop it on there. We're going to be as controlled as we can be with it. I guess there for a long time I was just a collector of paint and products. It wasn't until really I started working on the larger scale figures that I really got into using pretty much all the tools I had at my disposal. And at that point I came to realize that I didn't have to have everything the cool kids had to be able to paint better, because it didn't actually improve my painting. Just created a bigger deficit in the bank. So I get stuff from time to time now, but a lot of times I just watch other people's videos and get something that's close to what they're using and try it and see how it works. And I'm not using these washes at full strength. Like I said earlier, I've got my little mix that I'm using with everything. So, looks like it's going on thick, but I think it's just getting good coverage. This model was printed on a Anycubic Photon Mono X with Seraphim Fast Navy Gray. So prior to priming, getting it ready, this is what it looks like. It's a great sculpt. Like I said before, it's from the Secret Forge Vault Rising Tides Kickstarter, and I'll go ahead and throw that link up again. Be sure and go check them out. Tell them Big Aaron sent you. That's what you should be telling everybody. Telling you, it makes things happen. You can ask my kids. And actually, you can ask a couple people I work with. Now, there's a lot of detail on this wrap on the staff, so I am going to put it on there a little bit heavier because I really want all that detail pulled out. There's so much detail on this thing, it's not even funny. Even yesterday, I thought I had seen all the detail when I went to prime it the other day to get it ready, and then I ended up finding even more detail while I was painting it Tuesday when I first started painting it. It's crazy. They did an amazing job on this. I'm trying to get in everywhere. And then if you want to grab the link in just a second. Secret Forge also has a Discord. If you want to come hang out, and I'm in there quite a bit, and so is the owners of Secret Forge, and they're probably some of the most receptive individuals to community recommendations that I've ever seen. They really do take into account and take a look at everything that's mentioned. It's pretty awesome. Alright, so got this stuff detailed. I'm gonna do a little bit on the teeth here. Kind of get those stood out a little bit more. And we'll go back in there and we can hit the tips with a brighter color, but I really want to try to pull out all the detail in these teeth that I can, because if you see this up close, you'll see that there are multiple rows of teeth sculpted in, and it's pretty amazing. They actually did the shape of a shark tooth, if you know what I'm referring to there. We'll go ahead and switch up to some. I don't want it to be too dark. Maybe a little bit of green in there. Oh goodness! Shove my arm in paint. Starting to paint like somebody else. Paper towel. We'll try the Seraphim Sepia. See how that does. Maybe that'll give us enough of a color difference. See what happens. Worst they can do is it doesn't work and we try it again, right? Getting a little secret mix here. Well, I think that'll be alright. I think we'll be able to use that. It's okay if we get it on the stuff we just put the Agrex Earthshade on. It'll just kind of marry everything together if the colors get mixed up a little bit. And then what we'll do once this dries is I'll go back in there with maybe a dark gray and put some little kind of like specks in there to make it look like the coral has holes in it. And here all I'm really doing is just using a damp brush, a clean damp brush, to go back in and kind of remove where it was pulling up a little bit. Like we talked about towards the beginning, you don't want it pulling up because then it just looks weird. Because It's been a minute since I've used these, but if I'm not mistaken, they actually dry kind of glossy. So I'll use my matte varnish I usually use to go back over it. After we're done, it's just a regular rattle can varnish you can get from Walmart. I think if I was to paint this again, I would go with brighter colors. That way I could really play around with the coral. Try to do a neat effect on it with different colors, but here we are. Okay, I want to go back over that tooth again. I'm thinking I might want to go over it with a... Man, that's a lot of gray. I don't know. We'll go over it with what I had on it before, the color that's on there now. So this is pastel yellow from AK. It's their 3rd gen line. Let's see if we can get some good coverage on here. Got a bubble. Man, that does not want to go away. Might have went just a little bit too thin with it. Maybe. Yeah, this will be alright. We'll go back in there with a wash, pick out the details, and highlight. Not sure which metallic to use. There's our gray we'll use for the shadows. Let's try gunmetal. See how gunmetal looks. Let me get this shook up. I mean, there's really not a lot of metal. There's the belt buckle. There's a couple of buckles on his legs, and then the spikes on the tailpiece here. We'll see how that does. I'm not quite sure it'll be separated enough from the gray of the skin itself. Now this is really thin paint already, so I'm not really going to use my mix that I use to thin paints with, because I don't need this any thinner than it is. Yeah, I think that's a good color choice. I think it marries well with the other colors. You still tell it's metal, not too bright, not too dark. And I haven't really done a lot to the pants, so I mean, if a little bit spills over, we can go back in and touch it up. The biggest thing is you just want to be sure you get the edges. Bless you. Bless you. I don't know if y'all can hear that. My wife's sneezing. Yeah, I think that's a good metal color. I think we'll stick with it. Yep, I think that's gonna look good. That's a really good looking color for those. I like it. Let's get this tail knocked out. Things are moving along pretty good. The reason I didn't wash the tail earlier when I was washing the rest of the browns is because I knew I had to come back in here and do these spikes. So I left it just in case I have to come back in here and touch up any of the brown, because then that would have just meant I was washing it just to come back and paint over it. So if you are new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the painting. We are not out to win a golden demon or slayer sword. We're just here to chill out, paint, have a good time. I mainly paint large scale. This is about 150 millimeter. This is probably about as small as I'll go now. Maybe a 75. All depends. I just enjoy doing the longer or the larger models. So far in this model, I've got, let me see, been streaming for about 45 minutes now. Went for about 3.5 hours the other day. So right now we're sitting at less than 6 hours into this model. So made some decent progress. I'm not a speed painter by any type of definition of the word you could find. But I am happy that I have started finishing my projects, not just getting them to a certain point and then leaving them. If you do watch Twitch, I'd appreciate it if you, next time you were in Twitch, you just kind of looked me up, checked out the videos, throw me a follow. If you like the way the painting's going now, don't be scared to subscribe. Everything helps. Realize of how small or how big. It's a little bit tricky to get in. I think we can do a lot from back here though. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is working. Not much shadow needs to go on this. That's pretty well in shadow. I probably didn't even need to paint as much of that as I did, but I knew it was there, so. The palette that I'm using is the Masters to Stay Wet palette. Not sure which brush I'm using right now. Hold on a second, I'll look. Just gonna grab what was on my table. I believe this is a Rosemary and Co. Yep, Rosemary and Co. size 3. Right here, so it's at least painted from every viewing angle. Once the base is on, I don't see too many people picking it up and looking at the bottom, but you never know. I know there's the usual contest and I go to in Oklahoma is the contest in Bigsby, I think, coming up in April. So Mr. Sharkimedes might make an appearance at that one. See what happens. Yep, I like that metallic on there. That's a good looking metallic. Now, once I hit it with the matte varnish, I'll show you what matte varnish I use. Once I hit it with the matte varnish, I'll have to go back in and touch up the metallics just to make sure that everything's good to go. This is the matte varnish that I use. Ooh, goodness. Krylon matte varnish, non-yellowing, moisture resistant, eliminates gloss, but it does eliminate all the gloss, so we'll have to go back in and account for that. Alright, while those metallics are setting up, we'll go ahead and hit up around the edges of everything so we can kind of get that gray shadow in there. This is the dark gray wash from Vallejo that we're using. And just in case anybody wants to see, there's my messy palette. So we're gonna want to be pretty controlled with the wash. So I'm using a little bit finer brush than I normally use. You can see how dark that is, but hopefully it's not too bad. You can see it there, but I don't think it'll be enough to. The biggest thing is you don't want the coffee staining like we were talking about earlier. So we'll see, that might be a little bit too dark still. See if we can thin it down a little bit more. Because really all we really want to do is create a shadow around where everything kind of comes up from the skin, or I guess where everything's kind of raised from the skin. I think that'll be all right. Get some in here. Just kind of get it colored in there. Get a little bit more definition in there. It's gonna dry out pretty light. We can all use that for our shade, because there's some deep muscle recesses in there. Gonna help us pull them out. Run it underneath this lip there. Give it a little bit more shadow. It's got some wrinkles. I want to get those. It's got kind of that multi-chin effect going on. We've got the gills, so we'll want to drop some in there. Kind of make those pop a little bit. Now, because of the position of his head, the gills on the left side facing him are a little bit different. So and this really is kind of nice, because I mean, if you've got your wash thin enough, you can literally just kind of trace around and let it do the rest. It doesn't get much easier than that. Get that little nice defining edge. I know sometimes for me it's hard to get it's hard to get that good transition between where something touches the skin to the skin. So good way to do that is just take a little Pim wash, run it in there. This is a little bit thicker than a Pim wash, but works the same. Because everything needs to have a defining edge, whether it's facing straight up or down in a shadow. Still needs to be separated. And you want to try to, well, I try to run as thin of a line as I can, because I don't want it looking like I just painted a big line in there. I don't mind it having a little cartoon effect, but I don't want it to look like I did a cartoon. Not in this situation anyway. There are some deliberate things I have done for a cartoon effect Gundam's the biggest one I've probably worked on before. Doing cell shading. It's pretty fun. We got a little bit of a curve on our paintbrush. We can use that to our advantage to get into that little weird angle. And I think gray is a good neutral color to outline stuff with. You can tell it's got an edge, but it's not as intrusive as black would be. It's kind of one of those things, once it dries in there, your eye will see it, but you might not necessarily realize it, which is a good thing. So I'm just taking the sharpest point of my brush and just running it around the edge of everything. And like I said, your brain will still see that the edge is there, but your eyes won't necessarily pick it up. We can even get some of these lines in the hand. And all you need is the slightest touch. Just to get that little bit of extra shadow in there. Give it that little bit more realism. And if you've got your whatever you're using thinned down enough, it for the most part works off capillary action. It'll kind of automatically pull it off with the paintbrush and deposit it into that depression you're trying to put it in, which works out great. Let's get inside these buckles. And even though it's gray, I can still use to outline everything. Nothing is off limits. Nothing. That's a gray. We can put it on the brown. Define that edge of the flat better. Could use it to run into that little overlap where the flap folds down over the compartment itself. See what we'll even do. We'll even run it in between the pants and the buckle. Just get a little bit more definition in there. It's our piece. We can paint it how we want. We'll say none. Ooh, got a little white on that one. It's all right. All right, looking good, looking good. Unless two things are blended together, everything gets an edge. You can tell it looks good. Everything's getting nice and defined. We can run this around the edge by the wraps here. And just adds a little bit more depth to that edge. Every layer you add adds a little bit more. With its depth, with its contrast. I think that's looking good. Let's see. Let's try something here. Let's see what the gray does over top of this tooth. Darkened it down fairly nicely. Leave a little bit extra deposited here at the end. It's still pretty bright on camera, but I think you get the gist. Outline these edges. Alright, I think we're looking pretty good so far. I need to blend that in a little bit better right there while I'm thinking about it. There's a pretty big bright spot on that thumb. Just go ahead and get that knocked down a little bit. Put some of that main color back on there. Some of the main skin tone, that is. Because I don't like that bright spot right there. That kind of blended in a little bit. There we go. That's much better. That's still pretty bright, but must be where it's wet. Alright, now we got some little studs on the chest, whereas straps are actually fastened to his chest armor here and here. I think we're going to go ahead and do those in the same color that we did the buckles. Just for continuity. Another one of those small details you should really address, because you would actually be able to see if you didn't. So anything, want to take care of anything that people might notice when they're observing the model. I think that's it. I think that's all the metal, actually. Seems to be. Yeah, even on camera you can tell where I picked those up. I'm not quite sure how to do the white spots on the eyes with the eyes at the side of the head like that. I kind of have an idea how they should go. Not really, but we'll give it a shot. We're going to try to put the catch light in there. See how it goes. I'm just using a deck tan for the catch light. The eyes are black, and we'll be going over them with gloss because they're large enough that it'll have a different effect than if you go to use gloss on a like 28 millimeter. Larger the figure, the more it's okay to use gloss mediums and such to pull out little details. Using a little toothpick to apply the catch light. I think I know how it goes. We'll see in a minute. All we got to do is paint back over it in black. Now, it's getting it in the same spot on the other side. It's kind of that back left corner there. Ooh, not enough. Ooh, that's a lot. All right, so we'll make this one a little bit bigger. There we go. I think that's good. Yeah, I think that'll be good. And then I think just to show him like hungry. I mean, he's a shark druid, but I'm sure he eats people. So I think what we might do. Been going for about an hour. I'm gonna pause for just a couple minutes, go stretch my legs, and then I think when we come back, we might go ahead and gloss in the eyeballs and touch up the teeth, and then go ahead and gloss over the teeth, giving kind of that kind of wet smile. So please hang out for just a couple minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. That out of the way. Far back. All right. So we're going to go ahead and throw some gloss in those peepers. And check them out. So they look, then it really starts to pop. Gloss really looks good on models the larger they get. However, it does not look good in pictures. So, in person and videos. Thank you. And I don't thin the gloss when I go to use it. I usually just use it as is. Eyes are the best part. Yeah, this is the... eyes have been great for me so far because the last model I did and this one were just black. So, easy peasy. Alright. Let's get this one. Then we'll touch up those teeth. Give him his not so pearly whites. There we go. All right. Now, I think that catch light ended up in the right spot. I think it's going to look good there. Yeah. I'm going to take a little bit of this gray, thin it down a little bit. Make sure it's not too strong. Okay. And he's got a little divide right here. And that'll lighten up as it dries. And I want to go a little bit lighter on the teeth. I want to use that same deck tan though. I'll try this highlight skin. Running out of our magic juice. Some more of that put out. And we're just going to touch the edges of these teeth. We don't want it to stand out too much. That'll be good. I actually don't even know if you'll be able to pick that up on camera. But I'm just hitting the points. The sharp part of the tooth. It's just to bring back a little bit of brightness, or we put that wash over them to dingy them up just a little bit. Hold on 1 second. What is Mr. Secret Forge himself? All right. Yeah, the pictures, I think the big pictures do it more justice than the camera does. The way it looks right now, our man needs a toothbrush. Alright, we'll let those dry. Now we'll go back in, get a lighter brown. Go back in. I don't know. I think that sun-bleached bone might be a little bit too much of a jump. What is this? Ooh, that's way too dark. What do we have here? What was that? That was... Is it the heavy skin tone? Oh, that's too red. That's way too orange. I feel like Goldilocks. I'll try a cork brown from Vallejo. We're gonna get this thinned down a lot. And we'll start trying to throw in some highlights on the chest armor there. We want to thin down a lot because we're going to be putting some glazes in. Do the old thumb test here. Let it work. It's not going to look like a lot now. We'll have to build it up over a few layers. But I think that's going to be what we're looking for. So we can run this along the edges of the upward facing. I don't know if it'll pick out from that brown too much. We'll see what happens. Might have went a little bit too thin. a little bit stronger with it. Let's see. Yeah, I think that'll be good. It'll be all right. Some little edges sticking up. Give it a little bit more life. Make it not look so flat. Edge of the belt there. And it's going to take a little bit of blending because we don't want that harsh edge. And remember, whenever you're blending, you want to draw the brush from the darkest to the lightest point where you want the highlight to be, because when you move paint around like this that's real thin, the paint gets deposited where the paintbrush lifts off of the surface. So trying to get an edge on these pouches. That little bit of edge highlight in there. We could do one back here. I'll clean this off a little bit. It's pretty harsh. Kind of draw it down, spread that harsh edge out a little bit. Come back and touch that up a little bit. Hit the edge of his belt back here. I probably should have sealed it. I'm rubbing a little bit of the paint off. I'm handling it. Looks like his leather straps on his pants here are going to catch a little bit of light. We need to touch up that brown on his tail armament real quick. We got a little bit of lighter brown on it from earlier. And we need to touch up where we did those metallics earlier. Now, the closer you get to being finished, the more you want to pay attention to your brush stroke, because you're at a point now you don't really want to have to redo anything, because now every brush stroke you make just gets you closer to being done. We're past the starting out getting base coats laid down phase. Last thing we want to do is be going back through and redoing a bunch of metallics. I'd say those teeth are dry now, so we'll go ahead and use our gloss varnish on the teeth before it gets too watered down. It's going to be good. It's looking good. I kind of want to take a little bit of pink and glaze it into the lips a little bit. I'll do that after the varnish is dry. Alright. I'm digging it so far. We're getting close. Getting real close. We're going to let that varnish dry. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the big brushes. And I'm going to go ahead and start blacking out the rim of this base. AK Momo, what's going on? Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's coming along real well. Pretty pleased with it. We are each brush stroke is getting us closer to completion at this point. We are getting there. The light at the end of the tunnel is shining. You know you're getting close when you're doing base cleanup. But it's just as important as the rest of it. You want to be sure you do a good job on it. Last thing you want is to have a decent paint job on the model and then see all kinds of brush strokes in the base. Because the people that say the bases don't matter don't know what they're talking about. That is one of the good things about the mixture that I use, is it hardly leaves any brush strokes. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever had to clean up brush strokes from it. It's probably one of the most self-leveling things I've ever used. You're exactly right, yeah. Base ties everything together. That's exactly right. That's the way models are designed. They start at the base, and then the model should be painted in such a fashion that it draws your eye upward. So, if you've got a trash base, their eyes might not get past that point. I learned a really valuable lesson from a contest one time that I had entered. I used to be of the mindset of, oh, they won't see that. Then I went to a contest, and these judges were pulling out flashlights. I mean, just getting all over the model. And needless to say, I didn't place in that one, and I'm pretty sure it's because every time I looked at something and said, oh, the judges won't see that, that's exactly what they saw. So, even if you don't think anybody's going to see it, paint it anyway. It ain't going to hurt nothing. It ain't going to hurt nothing at all. So, now we're going to take some of our lighter gray that we used in the skin tone, and actually no, we're going to go ahead and use that deck tan because it looks better. Good Lord, my brush is bent like that. Holy cow. I can't wait to get home and start printing, painting Juggernaut Hulk. Been on the road working for the last 2 weeks, so I've not been able to paint or print. Can't wait to go home for a bit. Oh, I imagine. Yeah, is that that's the Wicked, oh no, Juggernaut and Hulk. Who, are they from Wicked? I know Wicked just, not necessarily announced, but just talked about their Colossus Juggernaut diorama bit. I'm not sure if it can be downloaded yet or not. What's that? Bent. No. Okay. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use some of our, I think this is the deck tan, I think. And all we're really going to do with it is run some thin lines down the middle of Mr. Sharkimedes' toes. Get some highlights. And I mean, nothing spectacular. Just do the one stripe and you're done. And let's go ahead and get his fingernails here. Get the thumbnail. And these. All right. You know what? We're going to go with a little bit lighter green. Okay, AK Momo. Have a good one, man. I appreciate you for stopping by. Thank you very much. I don't have it. So, nobody's really saying anything. I don't have it set to something crazy like subscriber only chat or anything, do I? I don't think so. I don't think I do. I think I'd have some type of message if that was the case. I guess it's just a bunch of quiet people. Okay. I'm going to get a little bit more highlight on the tail, so I'm going to take this little brush right here. Go ahead. Light that up a little bit. And then this edge would be catching some lights. And then we get this top part of the tail would have some highlight. And we carry it on into there. Got that little tail fin thing. I guess we could carry a little bit more on back here. YOLO. There we go. Yep, that looks good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this toothpick and I'm going to do something a little bit more with that coral at the top of the staff than just let it look normal. So we're going to go into it. Then we'll try knocking some of it off a little bit. Let's see if we can get just some. Okay, that's not going to work. So let's try this. Okay, let's try it with the black paint. I guess that would resemble coral a little bit. Let's do it. Yeah, I think that'll work. I don't even know what color that was, so just dipped in. Yeah, this isn't too bad. This will work. Although I've noticed that the more I use my toothpick, the more the dot gets larger. So nothing says they have to be perfectly circular anyway. So whew. 3 foot rule. If it looks good from 3 feet away, keep it. Alright, that's enough for that. I'm going to take my, we'll do one of these little dry brushes. And I think I'm going to take some of this, I think we'll try some of this fluorescent, or not fluorescent, pastel yellow. Get as much as we can off of there. Get some little highlights on here. Give that a little bit more depth. This is going in so many different directions. I don't think there's really going to be any way to hit hit this without obscuring some detail. So we'll do what we can. It turned out pretty good. Have the pouches up a little bit. It's actually a pretty good color to highlight a bunch of stuff. Blends really well with a lot. Alright, I think we'll wash the tooth in the middle. Oh goodness, may not have should have done that. Yeah, we need to see if we can redo that real quick, because that was the metallic. Whoopsie. Alright, we might just end up painting back over that when it's dry. Yeah, we'll just paint back over that when it's dry. Dirty this up a little bit. It's got some nice detail in it that could be pulled out. Clean the brush off so we can get back some of that that's puddled. Once that dries, we'll go over that real quick. I think I've got a brown wash. Need to see, it might be good to go over that string with the ropes and stuff. There's black. Metal color, metal color, metal color. Gray, metal color, metal color. There we go, brown wash. This will work. Let's plop it down right there in the middle. Let's clean off for size 8. Bar this down a little bit. Put it in some of those deep areas. Because he's not squeaky clean. So it's okay if we dirty him up a little bit. Alright. Now as soon as that tooth dies in the middle, we'll be done, I think. So we're going to go ahead and gluing to the base. I'm fairly confident we ain't got that much left. So the brushes out of the way here. Holding down a little bit. I'm missing my accelerator. I need to pick some accelerator up this weekend. Thank you. All right. There he is. I think we'll hit some highlights up on those spikes real quick while we're waiting on that center tooth to dry. So, wouldn't be too bright. So we use some silver. Just a little bit. Set up the top edges here. At the top edge of these buckles. I like it. Alright. I gotta hit that tooth real quick. I think that tooth is the last thing we've got. Fixing it. And maybe touch up the base where I touch it with my fingers. Well, now that we've got the chance, I think we're going to go ahead and change the look of that tooth completely so we can wash a little bit. So we're going back into the sun-bleached bone from Green Stuff World. Got a fat brush. Got all kinds of colors on our wet palette here. It's okay. If stuff gets mixed up, it gets mixed up. That's pretty watery, so we want to be careful. Because it will run. And that is not what we want at this point. I think I covered it pretty good. All we need is a little bit of a wash on it. Hopefully that'll dry fast. That really tones down after it's dried, doesn't it? Most highlights on the tail. Let's try this. I'll try pushing up a little bit further. I think that'll be all right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. The chest is almost dry. We'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. Use that gray wash on it, thin down. I'm trying to get rid of that hard edge we got there. I want it to get darker as we go down, but I don't want it to be. I don't want to get those coffee stains and stuff. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. I'm calling it done. I don't know about y'all. I think we did good. Took us all in all about, I don't know, we did this in about 6 hours, maybe just over. So I don't think it's too bad at all, especially with acrylics. Now I'll have to go back through and matte varnish everything, and then go back through and touch up the metallics a little bit. But this is it. This is Sharkimedes from the Secret Forge Vault Rising Tides Kickstarter. I will give you that link again, just in case anybody missed it. And again, that is, thank you. Again, that Kickstarter goes through until October 11th, 2022. So if you're watching this video in 2386 AD, you missed the Kickstarter. Sorry, but it was good. You missed a good one. Seriously, go check out the Kickstarter. Go back it. Great prices for tiers, especially the merchant tier. Merchant tier is kicking. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I appreciate those that came by. I appreciate those that spoke up in the chat and said something. It does make streaming easier when there's conversation going on. Again, thank you to all of my subscribers on YouTube. Thank you to all of my followers and subscribers on Twitch. You are all appreciated. And we will see everyone again soon. And remember, until next time, tell them